Welcome to a journey back in time, where we will turn back the pages of memory regarding a monument of British television. In 1961, the TV series The Avengers officially premiered and immediately created a powerful cultural fever not only in the misty land of England, but spreading across the globe. Unlike the dry spy films of the same era, The Avengers brought a completely fresh breeze. A combination of thrilling, detective elements, elegant fashion style, a touch of surrealism and exquisite British humor. The work was not only a brilliant commercial success, lasting for a decade, but also became an unforgettable part of the memories of an entire generation of the 60s audience. The perfectly tailored suits, the bowler hats, the tight catsuits, and the satisfying action sequences defined the standard of style at that time. But behind those classic characters, those flawless spies, were actors with very distinct fates, full of hidden corners that the studio lights could not illuminate. More than half a century has passed, and time has etched cruel marks upon their lives. Some continued to shine brilliantly like queens. Some chose a quiet path, and others had to stop their journey in ultimate tragedy. Let us settle our hearts to look back at the ups and downs of the cast that created the soul of the Avengers. The first person we must mention, the undying soul of the film, is Patrick Macnee as John Steed. In The Avengers, the character John Steed appeared as the perfect British gentleman, always appearing in a neat suit, the signature bowler hat, and a tightly rolled umbrella in hand, an elegant yet deadly weapon, with a mysterious half-smile and a demeanor of ease and freedom. John Steed did not need a gun to make enemies tremble. Patrick Macnee's acting at that time, at the age of 39, excellently portrayed the blend of dashing elegance and sharp intellect, turning John Steed into the ideal male model for millions of viewers. He was the anchor that kept the Avengers ship steady through many ups and downs and changes in co-stars. However, away from the halo of John Steed, Patrick Macnee's real life was a sad song with low notes of loneliness. Born in 1922 in London, Patrick grew up in a family where his father was an alcoholic racehorse trainer and his mother was of noble blood but eccentric. Perhaps a childhood lacking warmth made him yearn for a peaceful home all his life. After the resounding success of The Avengers, Patrick's career continued with many other roles, but the shadow of John Steed was so large that he seemed typecast into the gentleman image. Nevertheless, he diligently dedicated himself, appearing in famous works such as the 007 film A View to a Kill or the music video for the band Oasis. But behind that enduring career were persistent internal battles. Patrick served in the Royal Navy and nearly lost his life to severe bronchitis. Memories of war and the pressure of fame pushed him into a battle with depression and substance abuse. His married life was as turbulent as his inner self. Patrick believed marriage was a haven, but fate teased him. His first two marriages to Barbara, Douglas and Catherine Woodville, both ended in regret, worn down by geographical distance and emotional separation. Only with his third wife, Baba Majos de Nagsenya, did he find some peace. But when she passed away in 2007, Patrick fell back into solitude in a large house in California. The most thought-provoking thing is the cruel contrast. On screen, John Steed always had beautiful partners by his side, never alone but in real life. Patrick Macnee had to face loneliness gnawing at his soul. He was the embodiment of cheerful elegance before the lens, but a man bearing many emotional wounds when the velvet curtains closed. Yet that tumultuous journey had to come to an end. On June 25, 2015, Patrick Macnee took his last breath in Rancho Mirage, California at the age of 93. His departure left a large void in the hearts of fans, as if the bowler hat and umbrella had forever lost their owner. The legacy he left behind is not only the immortal role of John Steed, but also the story of a human being who bravely fought against loneliness until the very last moments. Following John Steed is a strong woman who changed prejudices about the weaker sex on screen, Honor Blackman as Kathy Gale. Joining the Avengers in 1962 at the age of 37, Honor Blackman brought to life the character Kathy Gale, an intelligent, composed anthropologist possessing superior judo skills. Unlike the female characters often seen at that time, who only played the role of flower vases or needed protection, Honor's Kathy Gale was an equal partner to John Steed, independent and full of authority. With tight leather outfits and a sharp gaze, she not only captivated audiences, but also became an early symbol of feminism on television. Honor Blackman's acting breathed a powerful life into the role, proving that women could be both seductive and dangerous. Using the launchpad from the Avengers, Honor Blackman's career continued to flourish, brilliantly, peaking with the role of Pussy Galore in the blockbuster 007 film Goldfinger alongside Sean Connery. She became one of the most memorable Bond girls in cinematic history. However, contrary to the image of a woman surrounded by gallant men on film, Honor's love life in reality was full of obstacles. Born in 1925 in London, she was a strong woman, but did not find lasting happiness in marriage. Her two marriages, especially to actor Morris Kaufman, both ended in breakdown. Although they adopted 2 children together and strove to build a life, work pressure and distance caused their feelings to fade. After the breakups, Honor Blackman made a courageous decision to choose a single life. She did not let age or loneliness defeat her. Instead, she lived a life full of energy and pride. People saw her still radiant in her twilight years, participating in sports activities, watching American football, and enjoying peace in her small home. What is worth reflecting on is the strange similarity between her and the character. Kathy Gale, both were independent, autonomous women who did not need to rely on men to define their value. If Kathy Gale used martial arts to take down enemies, Honor Blackman used an optimistic attitude to conquer loneliness and old age. She proved that happiness does not necessarily come from a fulfilling marriage, but from freedom in the soul. But then, the law of birth, aging, sickness, and death spares no one. On April 5, 2020, Honor Blackman passed away peacefully at her home in Lewes East, Sussex, at the age of 94. She departed gently, leaving the world an image of a pioneering woman, a thorny and haughty rose that will never fade in cinematic memory. Speaking of the Avengers, one cannot fail to mention the fashion icon and symbol of allure, Diana Rigg as Emma Peel. In 1965, at the radiant age of 27, Diana Rigg transformed into Emma Peel, a character considered the heart and soul of the series. Intelligent, cool, humorous, and fatally seductive in tight catsuits, Emma Peel completely changed the image of female spies. Diana Rigg did not just act, she created a cultural phenomenon, becoming the desire of men and a role model for women worldwide. Her intelligent eyes and subtle smile turned Emma Peel into an unshakable monument. After the success of the Avengers, Diana Rigg did not rest on her laurels. She continued to affirm her innate talent on the stage and in cinema, becoming one of the most respected actors in Britain. She was the only woman to ever become James Bond's wife on screen in the film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Even in her later years, she once again made the world tip its hat with the role of the powerful and sharp Queen of Thorns Olenna Tyrell in the hit series Game of Thrones. Her career was a series of brilliant successes spanning more than half a century. However, behind that blinding halo was a love life full of waves and tragedy. Diana Rigg was born in 1938, a beautiful and talented woman who was unlucky in love. She once lived for 8 years without a title with director Philip Saville because she did not want to break up another's family. Subsequent marriages to painter Menachem Geffen or producer Archie Sterling both ended in bitterness and betrayal. It seemed that the roles of strong, solitary women on film had seeped into her life. The strength of Emma Peel on screen was a script, while the resilience of Diana Rigg in real life was forged through tears. She lost faith in marriage, but never lost faith in love and life. Even when facing the final battle named lung cancer, a consequence of a smoking habit since age 18, she still maintained a rare sense of humor and optimism. The saying, "God isn't ready for me yet," when she received her diagnosis, showed the temperament of a true female warrior. But no matter how steely the spirit, the human body has limits. On September 10, 2020, Diana Rigg took her last breath at her daughter's home in London at the age of 82. She departed, in the arms of her loved ones, leaving behind a massive artistic legacy and a lesson in resilience, holding her head high before every adversity, just as the character Olenna Tyrell faced death on screen. In the dramatic picture of the Avengers, there is a piece with bright colors, but a most tragic fate. Roy Kinnear, as Benedict Napoleon Hickey. Roy Kinnear joined the film in 1965 at the age of 31, although the character Benedict Napoleon Hickey was not a main role throughout, with his round, benevolent face, natural acting style, and innate ability to cause laughter. Roy left a deep impression. He brought wit and cheekiness, soothing the tension of the cases. He was proof that an excellent supporting actor could shine and be loved no less than the main character. The audience loved him for his honesty and the smile always on his lips. In real life, Roy Kinnear was just as warm a man. Born in 1934, he built a happy family with actress Carmel Cryan, but life seemed to want to test the heart of this kind man. His first daughter, Karina, was born with cerebral palsy and severe disabilities. Instead of collapsing, Roy and his wife turned their home into an oasis of love and boundless patience for their child. He worked ceaselessly, participating in a series of film projects to ensure the best life for his family. That very love made him a great father, in the eyes of his children, including the famous actor Rory Kinnear later on. However, tragedy struck in the cruelest way no one expected. The link between his role and his life is a heartbreaking contrast on film. He brought laughter, but the end of his life took tears from so many in a cruel occupational accident. In 1988, while filming The Return of the Musketeers in Spain, during a horse riding scene, Roy fell from the horse, leading to a broken pelvis and severe internal bleeding. It is worth mentioning that this was an accident that could have been completely avoided if safety measures had been better ensured. The career and life of the man who brought laughter stopped suddenly and bitterly. On September 20th, 1988, Roy Kinnear passed away at a hospital in Madrid at the age of 54. His departure was a huge shock, a wake-up call about occupational safety in the film industry. His family received only a meager compensation after the lawsuit, but the pain of loss could not be compensated. He departed when there were still too many unfinished plans, leaving a legacy of laughter for the audience and infinite love for his family. Continuing the role of legendary female spies was a youthful and vibrant face, Linda Thorson, as Tara King. In 1968, when she was only 21 years old, Linda Thorson shouldered enormous pressure when chosen to replace Diana Rigg. Her character, Tara King, carried a completely different color, young, dynamic, somewhat innocent, but full of enthusiasm. Tara King did not try to be a copy of Emma Peel, but was a fresh breeze representing the rebellious young generation of the late 60s. Linda's acting, though green compared to her seniors, scored points with its authenticity and tireless effort, helping her win a unique affection in the hearts of the audience. Leaving the Avengers. Linda Thorson struggled to escape the oversized shadow of Tara King. Her life was a long journey to find her identity between the aura and reality. Born in 1947 in Canada, Linda possessed beauty and talent, but her love life was a series of sad notes. 4 marriages passed through her life with Barry Berg-Thorson, Cyril Jeffrey Smith Jr., Bill Boggs and Gavin Mitchell, and all ended with divorce papers. Each breakup was a time she had to stand up by herself, gathering the fragments of emotion to continue living and contributing. However, what is admirable about Linda is that she never let romantic failures drown her career. She found salvation on the Broadway stage and TV projects. She once confided that the stage was where she rediscovered herself after each stumble. The connection between her and Tara King is strange. Both were young girls entering a challenging world, having to learn to grow up and affirm themselves. If Tara King relied on John Steed's guidance, Linda Thorson relied on her own extraordinary willpower. She devoted all her love to her son, Trevor, and found peace in meditation. Today, at the age of 78, Linda Thorson is still living a meaningful life. She remains healthy, lucid, and occasionally appears at anniversary events for The Avengers, where fans still affectionately call her Tara King. Her journey is living proof of resilience despite going through so many breakups. That woman still keeps her smile and burning passion for art, continuing to inspire the next generation about living optimistically and strongly. Finally, we remember a character representing underground power, Douglas Muir as 110. In the first season, in 1961, Douglas Muir, then 57 years old, played 110, the cold and mysterious high-ranking commander who directly assigned missions to Steed and Keel. Although he did not have much acting space, Douglas' majestic demeanor, warm, deep voice, and sharp eyes created the classic model of a big boss in the intelligence industry. Few words, but full of weight. In real life, Douglas Muir was a veteran actor born in 1904 who dedicated his whole life to the British stage and television. He belonged to the generation of classic actors working with professionalism and steel discipline. His private life was extremely quiet beside his wife Miriam Adams' daughter. He was a man of work, always arriving on set on time. Even though old age health had begun to decline, he represented a generation of artists who contributed silently, not seeking flashy fame, but only hoping to complete their roles best. However, he did not have the opportunity to enjoy a peaceful old age for long. Just a few years after leaving the Avengers on November 30th, 1966, Douglas Muir passed away at a hospital in London at the age of 62. He departed quietly, just as he lived, leaving a modest but respectable artistic legacy. In the early days of the series, there was a quiet but impressive Rose Ingrid Hafner as Carol Wilson. In 1961, at the age of 25, Ingrid Hafner played Nurse Carol Wilson, the capable assistant of Dr. Keel. Although she only appeared in the first season and her screen time was not much, Ingrid managed to leave a mark of a gentle, dedicated, and intelligent woman. She represented the silent heroes needing no guns or high martial arts, but using care and compassion to help others. Contrary to the noise of the entertainment world, Ingrid Hafner's real-life passed in peace and privacy. Born in 1936, she chose the path of a family woman married to actor Richard Clothier and having 2 sons. Ingrid did not hesitate to step back, refusing many opportunities for advancement to cultivate her home. She found happiness in simple things, in the laughter of children, and peace beside her loving husband. She was the embodiment of sacrifice and motherhood, a beauty that did not need stage lights to shine. But ironic fate tested that kind woman with a vicious disease. In the final years of her life, Ingrid had to face amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, a devastating neurological disease that gradually paralyzes the body while the mind remains completely alert. Imagine the pain of a mother when her mind is still lucid, still full of love, but her body cannot move to embrace her loved ones. The connection between her and the role of Carol Wilson returns. With deep emotion all her life on film, and in reality she was a caregiver caring for others. But at the end of her life, she became the one needing care. Nevertheless, she maintained an optimistic spirit, facing death with extraordinary courage. That unequal battle ended on May 20th, 1994. Ingrid Hafner passed away in Berkshire at the age of 57. She departed in the arms of her family, leaving a profound lesson on the value of family bonds and the courage to face adversity. In the spy world, a commander standing behind the velvet curtain is always needed, and that was Patrick Newell as Mother. Joining the film crew in 1968 at the age of 36, Patrick Newell played Mother, the head of the intelligence organization, always appearing in the most bizarre locations to assign missions. With a stout appearance, a kind face, and a calm demeanor, Mother brought a very charming underground humor. Patrick Newell turned this character into a memorable icon, a boss who was both authoritative and approachable, creating an interesting balance for the episodes. However, behind that portly appearance and gentle smile were private feelings difficult to express. Born in 1932, Patrick Newell was a family man with a stable marriage to Doreen House until the end of his life. He lived privately humbly and was always dedicated to his profession. But his appearance, the very thing that helped him get the role of a lifetime, was the source of many health and psychological issues. He had to struggle with weight and image pressure throughout his career. There were times he had to gain weight for a role, then rapidly lose weight, causing his body to suffer serious damage. The connection between his role and his life carries the color of silent sacrifice. On film, Mother was the keeper of all secrets, always appearing calm before every danger. In real life, Patrick Newell also chose to hide his illness. He suffered from severe heart disease, but always appeared before everyone with an optimistic smile, not wanting anyone to worry about him. He worked hard, dedicating laughter to the audience, while his heart was gradually exhausting. That is the bravery of a true artist who accepts private pain to bring public joy. Yet that weak heart could not beat forever. On July 22, 1988, Patrick Newell passed away suddenly from a heart attack in Essex at the age of 56. He departed when not yet too old, leaving shock for colleagues and audiences. His story reminds us of the silent sacrifices behind the lens, where artists sometimes have to trade their own health to complete a role. Going back to the beginning, we meet a character who laid the foundation for the entire series, Ian Hendry, as Dr. David Keel. In 1961, Ian Hendry played Dr. David Keel, the original main character of the series. David Keel was a benevolent doctor who, due to the death of his fiancée, plunged into the underworld for revenge. Thereby teaming up with John Steed. Ian's acting at age 30 was full of inner depth, portraying the pain and struggle of a good man swept into the vortex of crime. He was the one who created the haunting noir quality for the first season of The Avengers. However, Ian Hendry's real life was a tragedy, even more painful than what his character had to endure. Born in 1931, Ian was an outstanding talent, but had a soul too sensitive and fragile. Leaving The Avengers early to pursue a film career, he thought he would reach the peak, but fate pushed him into the abyss. His married life was days full of storms. His second marriage to actress Janet Monroe, whom he loved madly, was a briefly happy period, but ended in tragedy. Janet's sudden death from myocarditis in 1972 completely destroyed Ian. Losing his beloved wife, Ian Hendry slid into loneliness and guilt. He turned to alcohol as a medicine to numb the pain. The demon in the bottle became his cruelest companion, gradually destroying his health, looks, and career. From a promising star, he fell into bankruptcy, illness, and was turned away by producers. The similarity between him and the character David Keel is frightening. Both lost the woman they loved most. But if on film David Keel turned pain into righteous action, in real life, Ian Hendry let pain drown him. He is a prime example of the cruelty of fame and the frailty of humans before unhealed emotional shocks. That tragic journey had to stop too soon. On Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1984, Ian Hendry died alone in London due to a gastric hemorrhage, the consequence of years of alcohol abuse at only 53 years old. His departure left an unceasing sorrow for those who once loved his talent. The legacy he left is the image of a talented but ill-fated artist, a warning about the price of unhealed trauma. Bringing music and romance to the series was Julie Stevens as Venus Smith. In 1962, Julie Stevens, 26, appeared in The Avengers as Venus Smith, an innocent and emotional nightclub singer. Her character brought a gentle, romantic breeze, contrasting with the tension of the espionage cases. Julie's sweet voice and pure beauty became an unforgettable highlight, softening the roughness of the film. In real life, Julie Stevens' life was also full of ups and downs, like a sad love song. Born in 1936, she went through 2 broken marriages. The pressures of fame and work wore down her family happiness. However, Julie never let sadness defeat her. She found joy in music and the love for her 2 children. She always believed that art was the medicine to heal the soul, and that very passion helped her overcome the most difficult periods of her life. But the biggest challenge came to her in the final years of her life, named Parkinson's. The disease gradually robbed her of her ability to move, and once golden voice. From a flexible singer, Venus Smith on screen, she became frail and dependent on the care of others. However, the miracle is that she never complained. She still kept a gentle smile and gratitude towards life. She lived her last days with the mindset of someone who had lived fully with no regrets. The journey of singer Venus closed on December 5th, 2024, just a few weeks before her 88th birthday. Her departure marked the end of a golden generation. But her voice and image will echo forever in the memories of those who loved the Avengers.